What's up, everyone? Welcome into the Cannonballs podcast. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Dane Cannon. Co-hosting with me today is...
Ya boy, Jake Bulls on the mic. 1, 2.
What's up, everyone? We have a jam-packed episode for you guys today. We were originally just going to make this a power rankings episode. However, due to our time constraints and our busy as hell schedules, we're going to do just a very brief, very quick recap of the Monday games that were played. Not much to say on those. Then we will do our power rankings, and at the end, we will actually give our Thursday night preview and our prediction. So stay tuned for that. Jake, do you have anything that you want to add before we get started?
Yes, if you guys haven't already, please follow us on Instagram. We are on Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere else you can listen to podcasts. Yeah, give us a follow, subscribe, whatever, like our videos, watch the first 5 minutes. And I am lagging hella right now, so hopefully that fixes itself out. But yeah.
I think it already fixed itself a little bit.
Okay, cool. We're back. But yeah, just watch us, like, comment, subscribe. If you don't like our power rankings, say something about it and message us. So we like the trash talk. We like the sports debates. But I'm excited for this episode. This is a kind of a new format, but let's get into it, Dane. With
really quick to add on top of that, when we say new format, we mean brand new. Usually, Jake and I, we would debate and come to an agreement on our power rankings. You got something new this time. We're each going to do a power ranking. We're going to do one for me, and Jake's going to do one for himself. That way you guys can compare, and maybe you guys could let us know whose power rankings you like more and why. All right, so Jake, going back to the Monday slate, we had two games. We had the Buffalo Bills playing the Tennessee Titans, and then we had the Minnesota Vikings playing the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's start with the Buffalo Bills game. Not much to say about this. The Bills dominate. Absolutely freaking dominate. I don't know what else to say other than they are just proving themselves why they're the number one team, why we are so high on them. Tennessee could not get anything going. 7 points. Ryan Tannehill, I don't even think threw for a touchdown. I think it was Derrick Henry who rushed it in. Buffalo's defense is nasty. That connection between Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs is real. It is one of the best connections in football. They are unstoppable through 2 weeks, and I am so excited to watch this team throughout the rest of the season as long as they stay healthy.
Yeah, you pretty much said everything I had to say. This game was over. I mean, it was over in the second quarter but it was really over in the third. All the starters were out by mid of the third. This was just a beatdown. This is what you want your number one team in the league to do. This is like why I've kind of been lower on the Rams as of late. The Bills, like you said, are just proving why they're number one in my book right now. Every phase of the game. I mean, the run game is a little weak, but they don't even need it, honestly. Josh Allen is the run game. That connection to Stephon Diggs is just out of this world. Yeah, I mean, Tennessee couldn't do anything. Like, they have everything. Offense, they have a killer offense, they have a killer defense. And I think that's what separates the Bills from a lot of these teams is they have both. So, yeah, I mean, look out for the Bills, man. I hope they can do it because I'm rooting for them. But,
yeah, I think both of us had them at least 14-3 or not 15-2 going into our record predictions at before the or during the preseason before the actual season started.
Yeah, I believe I had them going 14-2. I kind of want to look at that just to.
Is it 14-2 or 14-3? How many games are played now? 16 or 17?
Oh, it's got to be 14. Okay, I had them going
3, right?
I'm pretty sure I only had them losing 2 games, if I'm not mistaken.
So then 15-2. I think I had them 14-3. I think you did have them doing 1 game better than I did.
Okay, yeah, I got them going 15-2, and I just want to see who I have them losing to. Oh my goodness, the Jets. What?
You picked them to lose to the Jets?
I don't.
Hey, I mean, the Jets ended up beating Cleveland, so you never know.
Okay, I have them losing to the Jets at the end of the season and the Patriots.
That's right. The end of the season, maybe because their starters will be out. They don't give a shit. They already won the AFC.
It's week 14, so
I don't know. Maybe
at that point,
that crack pipe.
maybe, I don't know. I'm probably going to have to change that or definitely go against that because the Bills just look super hot. And I mean, let's move on to the next game because there's not really much more to talk about. Another dominant performance.
Yeah, I was actually pretty happy with my bold prediction on this one because we're both super high on Minnesota. I just had this weird gut feeling that Philadelphia was going to take this, and at home they played well. Jalen Hurts looked good. Their defense looked great. Minnesota couldn't get anything going.
Let me interrupt. Jalen Hurts didn't look good. He looked elite. Everything. Okay, this is what I've been waiting for Jalen Hurts. A game like this. Like, I've seen him, show flashes. He's able to run the ball really good. He can throw the ball good every once in a while the last couple years. But this game, from the first drive, dominated that Vikings defense. I was in shock. I knew the Eagles were going to be good. We're both high on these teams. But yes. I thought the Vikings would put up a little bit more of a fight. They got absolutely manhandled. Both the losing teams got manhandled in this game.
The Monday slates were not very entertaining games unless you were a fan of the teams that won.
Yeah, you would think these would be entertaining games. They should have been, but they just were not. And, the Eagles, man, spoiler alert, they jumped way up in my rankings after this win. And they have everything. They had a dominant defense. They have, the addition of AJ Brown. He didn't get too many targets this game, but Devontae Smith.
He opens up the other receivers because the defenses have to take into account him wherever he is on the field, and so their number one defensive back is going to be on him almost every time, guaranteed. So then it frees up Devontae Smith and other players like that.
Yeah, and then the defense just got after it, man. Darius Slay locked up Justin Jefferson,
Dude,
unfortunately.
That play where he almost got injured somewhat, and then it was like, no, I'm staying in another play, and then got the interception. Freaking baller, bro. I love that. Dropped an interception, right back to it. Very next play gets an interception. Love it. Love to see it. Eagles look good. Vikings, I'm sure, will bounce back, but we'll get into it. So, that's Monday recap. Not too much to talk about. They were kind of slaughterfest out there. So, Jake.
Real quick. Sorry. Did you get that meme I showed you about this country isn't suited for a Viking a Bills
Eagles Super Bowl? Yeah.
Oh, my God. The rowdy. Half those fans wouldn't even be there, honestly. But,
bro, it would be a brawl.
Riots everywhere.
Bills Mafia and Eagles fans, could you imagine breaking tables and breaking heads?
All
right.
Insane. But, let's move on to our power rankings.
Okay, guys. So, like I already mentioned earlier, Jake and I are both going to do a power ranking. So, Jake, I'll let you start off because I guarantee we're going to have different picks here.
Really?
For 32. Yeah. After looking at things, I switched my opinion a couple times, but I think that I'm going to do things a little bit differently. I think with how I'm doing the power rankings than how you're doing it. It's hard because one thing that I was figuring out while we were doing the last power rankings is that even if you win, it's kind of determined how you play. And I know that was one of the contributing factors for you as well. But just because you win doesn't necessarily mean you'll move up. Maybe you stay put. Maybe you go down, just how poorly you played. It's very hard. These aren't record predictions, by the way, so I'm not predicting these teams to stay here by any means. It's just how they're performing right now. So, Jake, who do you have at 32?
I just wanted to reiterate what you said. I base my rankings on how they look to my eye as I'm watching them as a fan. And I try to balance that out with the record. Because, for example, there's a couple 0-2 teams that I have ahead of my 32 ranked team. So it's just how they look, how I think they're going to actually end. I take this all into account. So with that being said, my number 32 team is the Chicago Bears. Back at it again.
Okay. I can see why you would have the Bears here. I went a different route.
Can I say why I have the Bears here? Oh, let's hear who you got first.
Okay. I have the Houston Texans down here.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Even though they tied with Indianapolis, there's just something missing about this team's offense. Their defense, I think, is playing better than expected. It's the offense for me. There's just not enough. And yet they still are winless. I know that they tied with Indianapolis, but you'll see where I have Indianapolis pretty soon.
Yeah, I have them. I mean, I could have just absolutely destroyed the Colts. I did, but I'll get into that later. But for the Bears, for that same exact reason, I have the Bears last. Their offense is putrid, absolutely putrid. I think Davis Mills right now is a better quarterback than Justin Fields. I'm saying it right now. He is a better quarterback than Justin Fields, or he has more pieces, whatever that is around him, or he's like actually has the balls to throw the ball, because Justin Fields threw for 17 passes on Sunday night? Like, come on, man. You're not going to win against the Green Bay Packers throwing 17 times a game. I mean, granted, David Montgomery is like their only offensive player that I think can actually do something. I mean, what happened to Darnell Mooney, Cole Kmet? Nothing. That's why I got the Bears right there. Like, they did get the win against 49ers, unfortunately, but I think the Bears are still looking like the last place team. That offense is absolutely putrid. And like, they have a defense, but I think the Texans, like, they almost beat the Broncos. They tied the Colts. Like, I don't know if the Broncos are, pretenders at this point, but that's why I got the Bears at 32.
The only reason because I originally had the Bears here as well. The only reason I didn't put the Bears here is because if you go back and watch the Green Bay game, yeah, the offense wasn't performing well, but they did almost make it a one possession game with a drive that lasted and got stalled at the 1 yard line. They could have made it interesting. They could have scored there. Their defense was keeping them in the game, other than on the ground against Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones was torching this defense. They were still competitive for a good portion of this game. Even though the score didn't really show that, I felt like they were playing a little bit better than the score showed. But then after they got stalled on the 1 yard line, turned the ball over, it was over from there. There was just nothing else that they could do. I just think, here's what I'm going to say. I think any of these bottom 10 teams could win against one another. Any of them.
Just so you guys know, Dane, I redid my list for the bottom fifth, or how many teams? What is it? The bottom. What's the half? What's half of 32?
16.
16. So the bottom 16 teams, I redid 3 times because I kept going back and forth with teams. And you know what? We're lucky that we did it before we recorded, because this would have been a really bad episode.
Yes.
But yeah, I got that. So I got Bears at 32. You got the Texans.
Yep.
Who do you got at 31?
I got the Colts. I
Really?
torched this team. You cannot get goose-egged against Jacksonville. Jacksonville's playing good. Don't get me wrong. They are playing good. But you look like crap in the division now. You tied with the Houston Texans in the division, and then you lose to the Jacksonville Jaguars in the division. The offense of the Colts, we want to talk about putrid? Bro, this offensive line is getting destroyed. Matt Ryan is looking like garbage. He's throwing picks left and right. He's throwing, I don't know, lobs. I don't know if it's arm talent. I don't know if it's because he's older, escapability. I don't know what it is. They could not get anything going. James Robinson even had a good game against this defense. Christian Kirk had a good game against this defense. Trevor Lawrence looked really good against this defense. I torched Indianapolis. I'm pissed. I don't think they're going to end up here. I really don't. I still think they have potential to be a playoff team.
Yeah.
It's a rough start, though. And based off of just what I've seen so far, I have the Colts down here because they looked like shit.
Yeah, so I went a different approach. I did drop them. I mean, they're tied with the biggest drops in my rankings. So I torched them, but I didn't torch them enough to put them at 31. So at 31, I got the Panthers, who dropped -8 spots on my list. They're winless. They don't look good. Um, I mean, Christian McCaffrey's healthy, but he hasn't really done a whole lot. And I'm not really high. And I don't think they're playing. I mean, their defense is okay to me right now. I don't know. I think they can move up, definitely. I definitely think they will. I don't know. I just wanted to bring them here because they're 0-2, and I have way more. I have higher hopes for the Colts than I do the Panthers. So that's why.
As well. You know what's funny about that is 30th for me is Carolina. And okay, so people will say, well, Chicago got destroyed. They lost. Why are they higher ranked than these teams? A lot of this movement has to do with how poorly other teams played as well. There's a lot of moving parts in this puzzle. It's putting together a puzzle. It's figuring out who looked worse. I mean, Carolina didn't look terrible, but they are 0-2. And I like the defense. I think Derek Brown's a stud. But the offense, I have question marks. Like, you have one of the best running backs in the NFL who had a couple good runs in the last game. Don't get me wrong. But there's just something missing right now. So I have them at 30 for me.
All right. So for 30, I got the Texans, who dropped -4 spots on my list. The only reason I put them above the Panthers and the Bears, they're playing hard. I like their defense. Like, I've seen some fire out of them. That's why I picked them up. Even though they don't have a win, they have a tie. But that's where I put them there because I try to balance how they look and their record, and then also where I think they'll end up. So, I mean, I think 30 is a perfect spot for the Texans. For 29, same thing. I got a team who has been playing, even though they're 0-2, they've been playing very hard, and it's a surprise, and it's a happy surprise. And I got the Atlanta Falcons at 29, who dropped 2 spots. Yeah, I mean, I think the defense, like we talked about yesterday, or was that Tuesday? The defense has been pleasantly good, and the offense, even though they're not getting the ball to Kyle Pitts, I mean, they had a rough week kind of yesterday, but they kind of started picking up with with some turnovers and some special team stuff going on. I like the weapons on Atlanta. If they can piece something together. I mean, Cordell Patterson, he's old, but he's still got it. Kyle Pitts, if he can get the ball, man, he would be so dominant. And then Drake London? Yeah, I always get them mixed up. Drake London, he's starting to break out a little bit. And then Mariota, I mean, this is the best I've seen Mariota in the last 5 years. So, yeah, that's why I got the Falcons at 29.
Okay. This is where I have Chicago. They are 1-1, so I still have them lower than Atlanta because they did get kind of torched by Green Bay near the end of the game. They did move up for me in my power rankings, even though they did lose, just because of how poorly some of the other teams played, in my opinion. But yeah, I have Chicago here. I have a feeling that they might move down even further for me in my power rankings. But yeah, so I got Chicago at 29.
Yeah. All right, so 28, I got the Seahawks. They got I don't know what to think about the Broncos yet. I mean, they dropped a lot in my rankings, but I got the Seahawks. They were my 31st ranked team at the beginning of the season, and they didn't look good at all. I mean, they played a really good defense, granted, but they just couldn't really get anything together on offense or defense on Sunday. Sorry. And yeah, I think they'll just end this. They'll probably end the season in bottom 5, I believe. So yeah, I got the Seahawks at 28 and -4 spots.
Okay. So at 28, I have Atlanta. So I think it's just one spot above where you had them. So we're pretty close on the money with where we're ranking Atlanta. Mm-hmm. I have Atlanta here because they are 0-2, but they have put up competitive fights. I mean, it wasn't really a competitive fight against the Rams until the second half, but then they really turned it on. You know, they made it an interesting game. And if it wasn't for a great interception by Jalen Ramsey, that game could have gone south really freaking fast for the Rams, and Atlanta could have walked away with a dub. So yeah, Atlanta is close. They're a cursed franchise, just like the Chargers, just like the Vikings, just like other organizations. But yeah, so I have Atlanta at 28.
All right. All right, so 27, I got the Manders. I mean, they dropped 5 spots for 27, but I don't know. I think this is the best they've looked in the last couple of years. Even that one year they did make it to the playoffs, their offense was eh. This is the most weapons they have on offense. Carson Wentz looks, what's the word?
Serviceable.
Serviceable. Thank you. This is probably the best I've seen Carson Wentz in the last couple of years as well. Also, and I mean the defense needs some work. I think it will, get together when Chase Young hopefully comes back. Cross your fingers. But yeah, I mean they lost, so they're 1-1. I don't know. They could probably move up in my rankings towards the end of the season. I see them winning more games at this point than I previously thought they would. So yeah, I got 27. I got the Commanders.
Okay, for 27, I have Seattle here. They did get burnt pretty bad by the San Francisco 49ers. Their only score of the game was on a blocked field goal, ran back for a touchdown. Defense held up here and there. Offense couldn't get anything going. They got to figure out something, but they're going up against one of the best defenses in the league, if not the best defense in the league, in the 49ers. So yeah, they dropped a couple spots for me. They dropped 3 spots. So I'm going to put them here at 27.
All right. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. 26. For a negative 10 drop, I got the Colts.
Bro, I dropped Indy 16.
Yeah, you're brutal to them.
Look,
I mean,
man,
the reason
you can't get blown out by the Jags.
No, yeah, I mean that's why I dropped them so low, but I just couldn't find myself to put them below the Seahawks or the Falcons or the Texans or the Bears. Like there was just, I think the Colts will get it together eventually and fight for a playoff spot. But they have looked putrid these first 2 games, like absolutely dog shit. There's my one cuss word.
I already used mine.
Yeah, like there's nothing, like even Jonathan Taylor hasn't gotten it together. Like, what's up, man? Like I got you on one of my fantasy teams. Let's step it up, my guy. But I mean the offensive line looks terrible. Matt Ryan can't do anything. Granted, they are without Michael Pittman last week, but I mean, Come on, dude. 0 points to the Jaguars. Like, come on, the Jaguars.
That's why I torched this team. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm hoping that after no one on this organization sees my video or our video, but hopefully, like, subconsciously they know, oh, shit, there's another cuss word. But Dane's talking bad about this team. Maybe we got to light this fire and finally start winning some games.
Yeah.
Indy, I like your team.
Yeah, I do too. That's the crazy thing. Like, them and the Broncos, like, I think
I hate Denver, but
oh yes. Well, I don't like Denver either, and I hate Russell Wilson. But these are 2 teams that like were playoff teams, potentially Super Bowl teams for the Broncos, and they're just not playing to expectations. So yeah, I just couldn't bring them past this level. But yeah, I got 26 the Colts for a negative 10 drop.
Okay.
I repeat, a negative 10 drop.
Okay, so for me, I have a pretty big jump here. I have the New York Jets. I think.
Nice.
So I went from 32 and brought them all the way to 26. I like what they did. That was a remarkable comeback. However, they did not look amazing in the first half, even through the first 3 quarters. Okay, I take that back. They played well because they were tied for most of the game. So they played well, but it wasn't like anything outstanding. I think they played solid defense, solid offense, but I want to see more. I feel like there's going to be something with the Jets. They're, like we said earlier, they're one of these scrappy teams that could make things happen. They can beat some good teams. But yeah, I have them jumping significantly. I think the Jets are outperforming expectations right now. Maybe it's because it was against a Jacoby Brissett-led Cleveland offense. But, yeah, good job, Jets. I have you moving up.
Right on. I did have the Jets moving up as well, but not for number 25. I had a tied for my worst drop. And they Okay, I'm gonna drop them. Or I am dropping them because they should have never let this team win. I got the Raiders at 25. They're 0-2. I don't think they will stay here. I think they will fight for a playoff spot. They are still a good team, but just like the Colts, I couldn't drop them any lower, even though they are 0-2. They got pieces on that team, man. They just can't let teams get back into it. Like, that is not good coaching. That is not good playing. Like, come on, man. They have pieces. They'll get it together. Like, and I hate the Raiders. I'm a 49ers fan. You hate the Raiders. You're a Chargers fan. And I think you feel the same way about the Raiders. Like, they will get it together. But they're 0-2. So that's why I got them dropping. And they should have, let's be honest, they should have won that game. They should have won. Like, but yeah, I got the Raiders at 25.
Okay. 25 for me is Jacksonville. It was a dominant win, which is why I have them moving up. We will see if they can keep it rolling against a injured Chargers team. So if they beat the Chargers, the Chargers defense is still healthy. So if they can put up points against the Chargers defense, they're for real. Because Chargers, for the first time in however long, have a complete defense, probably since like 2018. But we still gave up a decent amount of points in 2018. But, this is the first time we've had a pretty good run defense and an outstanding secondary. So it'll be interesting because if Justin Herbert doesn't play, it's going to be a lot closer than people think. But, I have Jacksonville moving up from 30 to 25. I think it was a solid win.
Nice. All right, I have an aforementioned team that you already mentioned. 24, I got the Jets for a 8-spot jump. I mean, anytime you come from behind like that, I mean, how many scores were they down? Do you remember?
The Jets were down 13 points with a minute 55 left.
Yeah, like I gotta raise you above, 0-2 teams just for that. Granted, I don't think they're going to stay this high. I think the Jets could win some games. I don't think they're going to be a playoff team, if I'm being honest. Maybe with Joe Flacco. It's just going to be a weird situation when Zach Wilson comes back. But I like their weapons, man. They have, Elijah Moore. Garrett Wilson broke out yesterday or Sunday. And then they have pieces on defense, and I like their coach. So, yeah, I got the Jets here. Good win.
Okay, that was 24, correct?
Yes.
So for 24, this is where I have the Washington Commanders. They did get beat decently bad by Detroit. However, I think that, they were competitive near the end. They showed some discipline in not letting the game score get ahead of themselves. They came back, they tried crawling back, they fought. I think if they would have made the extra point, they would have been down by 8 points. So they still would have had a chance to come back and win this game. But, Detroit put it on ice. I'm impressed with the way that they played and bounced back. But, I got Washington here at 24.
Nice. All right. 23, I got the Lions.
Hey, me too.
Woo, our first one that we
agree on.
That's the first one we agree on. Yeah, man, the Lions, even though the Commanders started trying to get back, it wasn't really they got within a score, and then the Lions would score again just easily. Dude, the Lions are explosive. They have players. They have, DeAndre Swift, Amon-Ra St. Brown, DJ Chark. He didn't do anything last Sunday, but he could be a solid piece for them. Not Ryan Reynolds. What the heck is his name? Josh Reynolds. Thank you. And if TJ Hawkinson could ever figure it out, they would. And then Jared Goff. He looks serviceable as well. This is probably the best I've seen Goff in the last couple of years. So, I got the Lions, and it was a good win. Even though it was against the Commanders, I think it was a good win.
Detroit's offense looks legit. They're putting up points. They are putting up points. I'm happy with the way that the offense is performing. You already touched on pretty much all the points that I needed to. DeAndre Swift is just amazing. Amon-Ra St. Brown, I love. Aiden Hutchinson had 3 sacks this game, so he's looking good. Good draft pick. I'm just impressed with the way Detroit's playing. They got that dog in them, so good job, Detroit.
Yep. All right. 22. Who do you got?
I got Tennessee here.
All right.
I got Tennessee at 22. You know, this is tough because there are some good teams that are 0-2.
Yeah.
I think that they could have beaten the Giants, but they didn't. I had to drop them because I only dropped them 2 spots, but they got absolutely manhandled by Buffalo. It was ugly. Buffalo is the number 1 team in my power ranking. Just FYI, spoiler alert. I don't think that's a shock to anyone. But
FYI, spoiler alert, mine too.
Yeah. So, you know, Buffalo also manhandled the Rams, who are another good team. Mm-hmm. But, you know, I dropped Tennessee here just because it was a bloodbath out there. They got the shit kicked out of them. So I'm putting Tennessee here. Offense looked bad. Defense looked bad. Everything looked bad. I think that they will be better than this spot, but they look bad.
Yeah, this is 22, right?
22, yes.
Okay. So at 22, I got the Jags. A seven number increase from last week for me. They looked fucking dominant. Let's just be real. They dominated a playoff team, you know. I mean, I don't even know what to say. Like, I don't know if, like I said early on Tuesday's episode, I don't know if this win is more impressive or if the loss was more disappointing. I think it's both. I mean, that's a cop out, but I mean, the Jags look dominant, so I'm happy to put them up here because, yeah, I'm happy. So I got the Jags at 22.
All right, for sure. So Jake and I both moved up Jacksonville significantly. All right, so at 21, this is where I have the Raiders. They're 0-2. They easily could have won both of these games, honestly. I think that the Raiders, moving forward, they're going to win some games. Don't get me wrong. They could have beaten Arizona. They looked like they were going to beat Arizona, and then Arizona bounced back and effed them up in the fourth quarter. I think they scored like 17 to 3 points, and then they beat them in OT. Nice forced fumble by Isaiah Simmons. Took it to the house. This game was one of the craziest games to watch. It was exciting. It was fun. I think the Raiders are good. I just think that, you know, the new head coaching struggles, the new scheme, the schematic structure of everything, it's taking adjustments longer than what they anticipated. They got playmakers everywhere. They're going to be fine, but I had to drop them significantly because they are 0-2. I still think that I think that if they went up against some of these teams that are 2-0 or 1-1, they would beat some of them, if not most of them.
Oh, I think the Raiders and the Colts can beat probably any of these teams in the bottom.
That's what's so hard
12?
about the first 2 weeks about power rankings, because you know these teams are going to be better than where they are. But just based off of how they're performing right now, this is why I got them there.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I got them at 25. I mean, 0-2, you can't really bring them, even though they will finish, like, mark my words, they'll finish higher than the Giants.
Right. So. And then we both have, I'm assuming, New York ranked significantly higher than some of these teams that we know are going to be ranked higher than them at the end of the year.
Yes. Well, speaking of the Giants, that's where I got at 21. Tied for my highest increase, a 10 ranking increase. I got the Giants. I don't know how the hell the Giants are doing it, man, but they are winning by the hairs of their chinny chin. They're 2-0. You know, 2-0 never looked so good. I think this is the first 2-0 start they've had since 2015 or something like that. Saquon's back. The defense is playing hard. I'll say that. Daniel Jones, you know, he's Daniel Jones. I don't know. I mean, it's only 2 games, let's be honest. But you know what? I'm happy to put the Giants here because I'm sure this is the highest they'll be all season, unless they win again next week or this week. But yeah, 21 Giants.
I like it. I like it a lot. All right. So at 20, I have Pittsburgh. You know, they did get beat pretty decently by New England. I still think this team will be fine. Missing TJ Watt out there is significant. This defense did look a little bit different. offensive woes continue with the offensive line, it's going to take Mitchell Trubisky to play better or just put in Kenny Pickett at this point. I mean, no one really expected Trubisky to be the starter the entire season, I don't think. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. But I got Pitt here at 20.
All right, so I got my first stagnant ranking. Even though they got absolutely manhandled on Monday night, I got the Titans. This one was hard for me because I wanted to drop them lower, but I still think this is where so from 20 on are playoff fringe teams for me. Everything else, it was kind of just like, I could put this team here, I can put this team here. That's why I got the Giants at 21. But like from 20 on, these are all playoff fringe teams.
Wait, you have them at 21 or 20?
20. I had the Giants at 21. So yeah, I got the Titans at 20. They're 0-2, but I don't think they'll finish that like that at all. They should have won week 1. Let's throw week 2 out the bag because that's your one blowout for the season, hopefully. I still think they're a good-ish team. Like Ryan Tannehill, they are a little one-dimensional, like we've been saying. Traylon Burks is kind of stepping up, honestly. Like he's been targeted.
He was better than expected against the Buffalo Bills defense, but
yeah. Derrick Henry. Yeah, Derrick Henry wasn't like when your biggest offensive piece, literally your biggest, when your biggest offensive player can't get anything going, your offense is gonna struggle. So they played a really good Bills team. So yeah, that's why I got them staying at 20. I just can't bring them lower than the likes of the Giants, Jags, and Lions as right now. Maybe if they go 0-4, then we'll talk.
I think after week 3, these power rankings are really going to start to develop a little bit because you got to get some traction going. You got to start seeing who's putting wins together, who's still losing, who's bouncing back. I think that the first 2 weeks are always the hardest because anything can happen in the first couple weeks of the NFL. Mm-hmm. But moving on to 19, I have New England. I have New England moving up. They had a pretty significant win against Pittsburgh. I still question this offense. Nelson Aguilar had a great game. Damian Harris looked good. Other than that, it's questionable for me. Defense looked pretty good. I think New England can be a 500 team. I think that they'll be middle of the pack personally. But for right now, I have them moving up a couple spots to 19.
Very nice. For 19, I got another stagnant ranking. I got the New Orleans Saints. They played the Bucks hard. They have a good defense. Like let's be real. Like you're not able to stop defense, or you're not able to stop Tom Brady, the GOAT, and Mike Evans. They were injured on their wide receiver core, but they had Leonard Fournette, and they stuffed him, man. It was a close game the entire game until probably the third quarter. I think their biggest weakness is still Jameis. He's a gunslinger, man. He's always going to be a gunslinger. He's going to throw picks or he's going to throw 500 yards and 4 touchdowns one game. So you live by the sword, you die by the sword. I got the Saints staying here because, like I said, from 20 on, this is a playoff fringe team, and I'm going to keep the Saints here.
Okay, so we're moving on to 18, correct?
Yep.
18, I have Dallas. I could not have predicted this win. Could not have predicted. What in the hell? Cooper Rush? Are you kidding me? And it's so funny because I still haven't even mentioned the team yet in my power rankings who they beat, and they're 0-2. But yet
Same.
It's so hard because this is why I hate power rankings, because we were so high on Cincinnati. We're dropping them. But it's yet, if they played again, I guarantee they would probably win 7 out of 10 times. Maybe this is one of the 3 times that they lose. So I don't know, man. It's hard. I have Dallas here. It was an impressive win. This defense is legit. Like Dallas's defense is legit. Offensive line, offense looks better with Cooper Rush, man.
I don't get it.
I don't get it. But yeah, I got Dallas here at 18.
I think we kind of slept on Dallas a little bit when Dak got hurt. I mean, like for most teams, when your quarterback gets hurt, like, oh, it's the end of the world. Like, nah, this team still has a good defense. So, and Micah Parsons is that dude. So, yeah. What number are we on? 18?
18.
Okay, so 18, I got for a negative drop. So the only reason I couldn't put the Titans and the Saints above Cleveland, or sorry, 18, I got Cleveland. But the reason I couldn't drop the Titans and the Saints is because they would have jumped up for a loss. So I just couldn't do that. That's why I kept those teams stagnant, and I had the Cleveland Browns dropping a game. I still think they're a playoff fringe team. Jacoby Brissett, they won't make the playoffs if, he doesn't figure it out. But I mean, they have a great defense. They have a great run game. And there's times where Jacoby Brissett can be competent, but let's be honest. Like, you can't let the Jets come back from, what was it, 13 points? Like,
yeah, 13 points with a minute 55 left. They just looked like they were afraid to even hit someone when it came to the onside kick. They did nothing. They just basically let New York just grab it right in front of them. That was it.
Yeah. So I got Cleveland at 18.
Okay, so at 17, this is where I have New Orleans. I think that this defense is the reason why they're so high for me. Like if you can get the ball to Michael Thomas and some of the offensive pieces, Alvin Kamara, this team can be legit. Chris Olave, yeah, exactly. Like, you have offensive pieces. It's all coming down to Jameis, but this defense is going to keep them in games, if not win them games. I mean, they made Tom Brady throw the iPad 2 years in a row. There's a reason for that. They're legit. Like, they know how to play defense. So even though they did lose, I actually had them moving up just because of how poorly other teams looked and how some of these teams lost. So it's very difficult. It's very challenging. I think week 3, it'll be a lot easier. But yeah, I have New Orleans down here at 17.
So you had a team who lost move up.
Yep.
Looks like you didn't really take your time in these rankings, Dane.
You also have to take into consideration I was driving home from frickin' Orange County and celebrating birthdays and doing all this stuff.
Writing on a notepad while you're driving with your feet.
I wish I was talented.
Hey, you are talented. So at 17, I have another stagnant team. They lost, so that's kind of the reason. But I still think the Steelers. I got the Steelers at 17. I still think they're gonna sneak into playoffs. Mark my words. They're going to sneak into playoffs somehow. I don't know how the hell they're going to do it, but they are going to do it. It's going to piss everyone off too, and then they're just going to be a wasted playoff spot. And then the teams like the Colts or the Raiders are going to be going home. So, I got the Steelers at 17.
Okay. I like it. Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season, so if they make it into playoffs, I congratulate him. I think that he's deserving of that. 16 is where I have Cleveland. I think they should have won this game. I don't know what happened in the last minute 55. You're up by 13 and then you somehow lose this. I don't know if it was play calling. I don't know if the defense Corey Davis was just wide open. I don't know if it was a blown coverage. So I don't know, like, if they just didn't have the play call correct, if they just thought that they had won the game and they just gave up. But it's like, what the hell? Like,
yeah,
I think Cleveland's running attack is going to save this offense while Jacoby Brissett is the quarterback. And their defense is still good. But then again, you give up a significant amount of points to the Jets. And you give up more than 13 points in a minute 55. So I think that mostly this was just like a blown game plan near the end. I think something happened with the coaching and the players. I think they had in their mind that this game was in the bag. Like, who can come back 13 points in a minute 55? So that's kind of why I'm giving them a... Huh?
The Jets can.
Yeah. So, so I have Cleveland here at 16.
The one thing I will say about our power rankings, even though they're like different, they're very close. I mean, like, I think except for a couple, they're pretty close.
And I think a reason for this, Jake, is because when we compromised originally for the first two power rankings, obviously we had ideas on who we thought should be there, and then we had to compromise. So obviously our power rankings were a little bit different. So like I was a little bit higher on some teams, I was a little bit lower on other teams. So like for my personal power rankings, I'm, still moving up and down, but from like our adjusted and like compromised picks that we put up on YouTube, obviously it's going to look different than what I had envisioned in my head. So in my head, that's why I have certain teams moving a certain direction from losses because of the agreement that we made when we were working together to build a power ranking. So that also plays a factor in this.
Gotcha. Well, maybe we can do that at the beginning and the end of the season. We can work together, and then middle of the season we can debate, or we can have differing opinions.
All about it.
All right, so 16, I got a 5-point increase, and I definitely didn't think this team would win. I don't know if this team's defense is just really good, or the team they beat is just as bad as they were 2 years ago or 3 years ago. I don't know. But I got the Dallas Cowboys at 16. Like we said earlier, that defense is legit. Micah Parsons is that dude. And they shocked the world, honestly. Like, I don't think I think unless you're a Dallas fan, I don't even think if you're a Dallas fan, you would have picked your team to win. I don't know what the hell is going on with the Bengals, honestly. We still both haven't picked called their names, which is surprising because they're the only 0-2 team that is in still the top ranked. 15. Yeah. So I think
a lot of it is I think a lot of it's recency bias from last year. They were the AFC champions. They went to the Super Bowl. So there's a lot of hope still filled in that. And they're still making plays. They still have great playmakers. It's a little sloppy right now. So I don't know if it's like the Super Bowl hangover, even though they didn't win. You could still get a hangover from that.
Do you know the stat about the team who loses the Super Bowl?
No, I do not.
There's never been I think it's besides the Patriots, maybe even the Patriots, the team that loses the Super Bowl never makes the playoffs, and it's like always has like a terrible year the next year. So it's like some crazy stat. Look it up. It's pretty interesting.
I'll look it up.
But yeah, I mean the Bengals still have good players. That's why they are. So that's why they're still haven't called their name. But all right, number 15. I got the Patriot.
Go ahead. Go ahead. No, take it away. Take it away.
Tied for my biggest jump, I got the Patriots.
Okay.
I mean, I really didn't want to bring them this high, but I started thinking about it more, and I mean, I don't like how they looked. I don't love how they look, but I didn't love how they looked last year, and they made the freaking playoffs. So honestly, they probably will squeak into the playoffs somehow, either them or the Steelers. Mark my words. And it's going to be stupid because teams like the Raiders and the Broncos or the Bengals are going to miss out. So it's, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. But I got the Patriots. They're still coached by the GOAT coach, and that's really all I got to say about the Patriots.
Okay. So for 15, this is where I have the Giants. 2-0 team.
Shit.
I don't think that they'll end up here.
Damn.
Their wins haven't been great. Their wins haven't been pretty, but they are 2-0. A win is a win in the NFL, no matter what. And what's funny is I still have them behind an 0-2 team.
Yeah.
It's like you said, it's the way the cookie crumbles. But I have the New York Giants here at 15. Who knows? Maybe Brian Dable really can turn this organization and this team around. Maybe he can unlock Daniel Jones in a way. Saquon Barkley does look good. Their defense does play solid, and they're still without Kayvon Thibodeau because he got injured in preseason. So when he comes back, that's just another force that'll be on the defensive line. So who knows? Maybe they can be a middle of the pack team. I'm not predicting it personally, but as of right now, they're 2-0. And it sucks to say because it's kind of, it's like, never mind. Screw it. Anyway, New York Giants, I have them here at 15.
All right. So we got the top 14 now. I'm interested to see how many of these we have the same because I feel like we're going to get a lot more similar. I mean, for sure, the first two, I feel like we're going to have the same, or the top two. But let's get into it. So this is who would, if the season ended, this would be playoff teams. So for a pretty hefty drop, I got the Vikings at 14.
Okay.
There's no way they should have gotten manhandled like that. Like, they are a good team, and I'm high on them, and they made me look stupid. Zach Casey. But there's no way they should have gotten this dominated. Like, there's no way. I don't understand it. Like, this is almost more unfathomable than the Colts getting manhandled like that. Like, the Colts were at least injured and without some of their best players. Well, one of their best players. I mean, the Vikings were healthy. It's just Kirk Cousins in prime time, I guess. It's just a curse. But yeah, I got the Vikings at 14.
So 14, this is actually where I have the Bengals. Since they are 0-2, you know, like you said, this is where we predict playoff teams to be. I still predict the Bengals to be a playoff team, but they are 0-2, so you can't have them that high. In my personal opinion, I think that they'll turn it around. Absolutely, I think that they'll be a top 10 team when things are all said and done. But right now, I have the Bengals at 14.
Yeah, so that's exactly who I have at 13. I have them dropping 4 spots. Yeah, I mean, they're 0-2, but they have so many pieces. They have, you know, one of the best, I think, if not one, the best wide receiver core in the NFL. They have a solid running back in Joe Mixon. And then they have, you know, Joey B, one of the best young quarterbacks right now. And they helped on paper. They helped on the offensive line. So I just don't understand what is going on with the Bengals. Slow
Their
start.
offensive line is not playing as well as it is on paper. That's for sure.
Okay.
On paper, it's much improved, but the play right now, they're not gelling together. It's not cordial between them. So it's pretty bad.
Not playing like a unit. I mean, earlier I predicted the Bengals would have a slow start. And what do you know? They are having a slow start. It's the Super Bowl hangover. It's a thing. Look it up. So yeah, at 13, I got the Bengals.
Okay, 13. I actually have Arizona here. They were getting shut out. They were getting shut out 20-0 and then made a remarkable comeback. So I think that that's worthy of moving them up a tiny bit in my power rankings. However, that was such sloppy play the first 2.5 quarters. It was
3.5.
bad.
At least 3 quarters.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry. Yes, 3 quarters. It was bad. It was really, really bad. You're down 20-0, but you came back and won. So it shows resiliency. I like the way the team responded, and they came back to win. But yeah, I have Arizona here at 13.
So funny. At 12, I have the Cardinals for a 2-spot increase. For that exact reason. I mean, they looked putrid. I don't know what the hell is up with these high-powered teams just looking putrid in these first 2 weeks. It's the first 2 weeks. All these teams are going to get it together, hopefully. But like you said, they would look terrible. If they would, and I said on Tuesday, if they would have lost, I mean, they would be probably number 21 right now if they would have lost. But they showed resiliency, like you said, and they beat the Raiders. And, you know, instead of going to 0-2, they're 1-1, and now the Raiders are 0-2. So, you know, I can't say I loved the game, but, you know, I liked the win, if that makes sense. So, yeah, I got the Cardinals at 12.
At 12, this is where I have Denver. Even though Denver won, it didn't look good. It did not look good at all. I mean, the defense is playing all right, but you're playing 2 offenses that are not top 10 offenses, top 15 even. I'd say they're bottom pack. Russell Wilson does not look good, in my opinion, thus far. I think they have the weapons around him to look good. But it's another team that's going to rely on the run. I mean, Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon's what this offense is going to rely on as of right now. I think that Russell Wilson can turn it around. But, yeah, I have Denver here at 12. I mean, they're 1-1, but they haven't impressed me thus far.
And who do you think I have at 11?
Denver.
Yep. I got the Broncos staying put. And I didn't. That's why I have them staying put, because they did win. But for the exact reason that you just said, they look awful. They look awful. Russell Wilson looks awful. I don't understand. Like, on paper, this team is a Super Bowl contending team. They look absolutely putrid. So, yeah, I got them staying at 11. And but again, this is like the Cardinals. If they would have lost, I would have had them at like 20. I would have dropped them hella. So, who do you got at 10? Who do you got in the top 10, baby?
Wait, I got to do my 11 really quick.
Oh, shit. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. My 11 is Minnesota. So I moved Minnesota here because of how poorly they did play against the Eagles. So I moved them from 5 to 11. So I dropped them 6 spots. I think that they'll respond. I think this team's going to be fine in the long haul. But if they play like how they did this last Monday, they're going to be in trouble. So I got Minnesota here at 11.
Right on. At 10, I got the Packers. They did get the win. I got them ranking up 2 spots. But they beat the Bears. I'm not high on the Bears at all, as you can see. They moved back to number 32. And, I mean, I don't know. I want to see them play next week against the Bucs. I want to see them play against a really good team before I can move them up any higher than the rest of these teams. I think when I look at the Packers, I see a defense and a Hall of Fame quarterback. I don't like Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon are good. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't know. They're such a hard team right now for me. But yeah, I got them at 10.
It's funny. I have them at 10 as well. So this is our second one that we agree on.
Let's go.
So Green Bay always has one game throughout the year where they just play like absolute poo-poo. The only difference this year is Aaron Rodgers doesn't have the wide receiver core that he usually does because he doesn't have Devontae Adams. He doesn't have that elite receiver. Aaron Jones is a baller. AJ Dillon, Quadzilla's good. Their defense stepped up. It was against Chicago. So like you said, we'll see how they play against Tampa Bay. But yeah, let's move on to number 9. Who's your number 9 team?
Real quick, I think the teams in front of the Packers are elite. Like, I think the Packers are borderline. I think they're really good. I don't think they're elite yet. Until I can see these wide receivers step up. That's why I got them at 10. But at number 9, I got a -2 ranking for the Ravens. They dropped 2 spots.
I have the Ravens at 9 as well. Okay.
Hey, let's talk about it, baby.
That's 2 in a row, baby.
Yeah, I mean,
you can't give up a 3 touchdown lead in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that's
just not acceptable. Not acceptable. And the problem is their offense played great. Baltimore's offense played great. Lamar Jackson played phenomenal. If
they would have won, they would have jumped a lot because that offense looked elite. Lamar looked elite. But yeah, I mean, that is just, like you said, unacceptable. You cannot give up a lead like that. Like, you're not going to win a lot of playoff games like that. You're not going to win a lot of games doing that, obviously. So yeah, that's cool. We got was that 2 in a row we got?
2 in a row.
Or no? Cool. All right, Dane, we got at 8.
8, I got your boys, the 49ers. I have them moving up a little bit, but it was against the Seahawks. That's why I didn't move them up too much, but it was an impressive win. Defense, offense, and I hate to say it, it was such a controversial game mentally speaking because you lose Trey Lance, your future franchise quarterback, potentially. But then Jimmy G comes in and looks good. He gets the job done. He knows the offense. And so I hate to say it, but I think this team looks better now with Jimmy at the helm than with Trey Lance because he knows the offense better. I think Trey Lance can give you a higher ceiling, but it's very hard to come in and do what a veteran quarterback does because he knows the schemes of the defenses better. He knows the offensive scheme better. So I have San Francisco here at 8. I think they're a solid freaking team. I have them moving up a couple spots for a good win, dominant win over the Seattle Seahawks.
Nice. I got a 5-point jump for the Miami Dolphins. They look good, man. I mean, everything about that team looked good.
You'll be shocked where I have Miami.
Oh my God! What, top 3?
You'll have to wait and see.
Oh man, I wonder if you'll get my top 3. I like my top 3. Well, I mean, 2 of them didn't change, but yeah, I got Miami at 8. They look really good. They have so many weapons on that offense, and like that was the thing that people were scared of. Like, will Tua get it together? And I mean, last Sunday he looked like he got it together. So yeah, I got them at 8.
Okay. At number 7, I have my boys, the Chargers. I dropped them 4 spots. I moved them here because they are injured right now. I don't know how Justin Herbert's going to play, if he's going to play. They're missing their starting center, starting right tackle, and they were another team that gave up a 10-point lead going into the second half of gameplay. So they failed to capitalize on a couple turnovers. You know, they had the balls in their hand. They just didn't play as well as I had hoped. So I have the Chargers here. I think that they're going to be fine as long as Justin Herbert's healthy. If he's not and Chase Daniel's out there, might as well put them like middle of the pack near the bottom, because Chase Daniel ain't going to get it done. I don't care how good this defense is.
I would have to agree with that. Justin Herbert is, he makes that team. I think the defense improved a lot, but I still think there's a little bit of question marks about it. But I want to see the Chargers be an elite defense, or an elite team with their defense. But at 7, I got the 49ers. 3-point increase. Like you said, it's a shame that Trey Lance got hurt, season-ending injury. But with that being said, I think they are better right now. I do agree with that. They are better right now. Like, all the question marks that we had about the 49ers are gone. They're gone. That the only question mark about the 49ers was Trey Lance. And now that Jimmy G, he's been there for 5 years. He knows the offense like the back of his hand. He is limited, but you know what? We don't really need him to do or the 49ers don't need him to do anything. They're going to run the ball. They're going to play really, really good defense. So I think they're back to being a legit Super Bowl contender, honestly. But with Trey Lance, I think they possibly could have made a Super Bowl, but most likely playoffs. But with Jimmy, I think they're back to contending for Super Bowl. So yeah, that's why I got 7.
Okay. At 6, I kept the Rams still. I didn't move them up. I didn't move them down. They got the dub, but they almost gave up a significant lead to the Atlanta Falcons. And, Jalen Ramsey saved their asses. Otherwise, that game would have been a huge comeback for Atlanta. Atlanta almost won, so I'm keeping the Rams here at 6.
I like it. At 6, I got your boys, the Chargers. Dropped 3 spots. Thinking about it, I totally forgot about all the injuries that they did go through in that game, unfortunately. So maybe if I would have thought about that before I made this list, I might have dropped them maybe to that 7-8 spot. But you know what? I'm fine with that 6 spot. If they're healthy, I still think they're a Super Bowl contending team.
If they're healthy, they'll be fine. It's just But also, play calling's got to be a little bit better on the offensive coordinator. Joe Lombardi plays this dink and dunk shit that I do not like. You got one of the best arms, top 3 in my opinion, in the league, and you're having them throw curl routes and just like dink and dunk shit. I hate it.
Yeah. So, I mean, even though they lost, I still think they're a really good team. So, yeah, I got them at 6.
Okay. Number 5, this is where I have Miami. I have Miami all the way up at 5. I like it.
Interesting.
6 touchdowns. Tua has weapons now. He's looking better. He's like one of the most improved quarterbacks for me from week 1 to week 2.
Man.
They beat a good Baltimore team. They came back down 21 points in the 4th freaking quarter. I like it. Miami, I hope you don't prove me wrong here. I hope you keep proving me right, because I'm high on you right now. Miami, you're looking good. Got you at 5.
Yeah, the reason I couldn't put Miami any higher is I think all these teams in front of them are better. I still have a hard time trusting Tua. I know he had a freaking baller of a game, but one time. Let's see if you can do it multiple times.
Yeah, if you can do it consistently.
Yeah, if you can do it consistently, 2, 3, 4 weeks a row, and then have maybe a dud game. Like, everybody has a dud game. Like, let's just be real. But like, the elite quarterbacks they can string together elite games. So if you do that, then I'm here for it, because like the Dolphins are one of those teams that are fun to root for right now. So that was at 5 you had?
That was
Miami?
5 for me.
All right. At 5, I got the Rams. They moved up a spot, only one spot. They didn't have a dominant win like I would have liked a Super Bowl. A reigning champion. I would have liked them to dominate Atlanta, if I'm being honest.
They almost let first half, but then they just gave it
let them back. So that's why the reason I only moved them up one spot, and they're at 5. So they're a good team. I mean, they're a good team.
Dude, I just realized one of the teams that we both have in the top 4. I love it.
I love it. Monday night was telling. Let's just say that.
Yeah. So at 4, I got Tampa Bay.
Oh, hell yeah, boy. Me too.
Tampa Bay, we kept them still.
Dude, I think we have our top 4 the same. The same.
Oh, yeah. So Tampa Bay, I got at 4 because their offense just did not look that good.
Yeah.
Their defense
Injuries
is still
too.
playing. Yeah, their defense is still like keeping them in games and winning them games, in my opinion.
Yep.
Tom Brady is still having some issues. But it was against a good New Orleans team. So, he's played 2 really tough teams in Dallas and New Orleans. So we'll see how T. Brady gets going, the GOAT. But yeah, I got Tampa Bay here at 4.
They're also playing the Packers Sunday night. So that will be interesting. I mean, if the Packers defense is what we think they are, that's going to be 3 good defenses in a row. So, don't start Tom Brady this week. And Mike Evans will be out. So,
suspended.
I don't have to say anything. About the Bucs that you haven't said. At number 3. All right, Dane. On the count of 3.
Oh,
yeah.
My bad.
Philadelphia. Yeah, man. The Eagles look dominant, dude. Jalen Hurts, man. Elite. He looked elite. Like,
yeah, dude.
Like, I don't know. I can't tell if I like watching him play more or Lamar Jackson play more. Like, they're both just so fun to watch. Like, I think Jalen Hurts has. I mean, okay, this is one game. Maybe I'm getting a little carried away, but I mean, Jalen Hurts did this last year. Let's be honest. Like, he had games where he was just like, "Whoa, where'd that come from?" And then he had games where he looked like Mitchell Trubisky. Let's be honest. So maybe we're getting a little carried away, but I mean, regardless, the defense, like we talked about earlier, the defense, the weapons, the wide receivers, Jalen Hurts balling out, the coaching. I mean, I like the Eagles. I liked what they did to the Vikings, unfortunately. But the Eagles looked really, really good. So I'm glad we have them in our top 3.
Yep. And we already gave it away that Buffalo was number 1, which means we both have Kansas City at 2. So we got the top 4 in the same order. I like it.
Yep.
Kansas City had a good comeback win against the Chargers.
Bills, we've already said everything.
Yeah, Bills are dominant. I'm not saying that Kansas City or that the Chargers would have won. I'm not going to say that because you can never know how a game will turn out. But I do think that the injuries played a factor for the Chargers, and they were looking dominant in the first half. 17-7, I think, is what it ended at the half. But the injuries, they started out, or maybe it was like 10-7. Maybe it was 10-7, and then they came back and scored. But
I think they were playing fine with the injuries, if I'm being honest. I think it was just one mistake by Justin Herbert. I would say that, but if you look at Chris Jones single-handedly impacted that defensive line and sacked Justin Herbert a couple times near the end of the game because he stopped moving, or he went from our right guard to our left guard, but then Storm Norton out there was also giving up pressure. So Justin Herbert had a lot of pressure. And I don't necessarily blame him for the interception as much as I blame coaching for not taking Gerald Everett out when he's gassed. He's calling someone in for
a substitution. They just said, no, hurry up offense. That's on Joe Lombardi. It also was, it could have gone in or out. So it's just a misread on Justin Herbert, bad connection, just a disaster way to end. It was a Chargers loss. I'm used to it by now.
Yeah, so there you have it, folks. That is our week 3 power rankings. Some differences. I thought we would have a lot more similarities, but I like it. I like the differences. It's fun. It makes these power rankings a lot more fun.
Absolutely.
So before we end this episode, let's get into a Thursday night preview.
Oh God, I'm not actually that thrilled with this game either.
I'm not either. I mean, we have the Steelers and the Browns.
So it is a divisional game, which is cool, but I honestly, if this was, say, Kenny Pickett against Deshaun Watson, I think this would have been a lot more exciting because there's a lot more like what's going to happen. But okay, in this game, go ahead.
Let me say this. If Kenny Pickett can't even beat Mitchell Trubisky out, is he even ready?
No idea. No idea.
He's not. I'm going to put it blunt. If he can't beat out Mitchell Trubisky for the starting job, he's not ready.
So let me ask you this then. Are you sure that it's not based off of coach's preference? Because why the hell was Tyrod Taylor starting the season and Justin Herbert wasn't?
Man, I don't know. Maybe he just wasn't ready to start him. I mean, it could be a lot, but it could be a lot of things. But I think then we could take this all the way back to Patrick Mahomes. Why didn't he beat out Alex Smith if he wasn't ready? I think they're rolling with the person they think gives them the better shot to win. And I think even though it is Mitchell Trubisky, I would have to agree with that. I mean, he's not. I feel like they have just like a fear of starting a rookie quarterback. Maybe he'll just make some dumb interceptions, but like so would Mitchell Trubisky. I don't freaking know, man. But I mean, let's talk about this game. It's going to be a defensive battle. I don't know. TJ Watt is out.
Yeah.
Who do you got? Who do you got? Because I got the Browns.
God. I got the Browns also simply because the Steelers' offensive line is not good in my opinion, and the Browns' defensive line is really good. And I think the Browns can run on Pittsburgh's defense. I think that they may have time of possession in this game. And I'm not fond or I don't speak highly of either of the quarterbacks, Mitchell Trubisky and Jacoby Brissett. But I think they both have good receivers. I like the running back duo more of Cleveland. I like the defense more of Cleveland right now with TJ Watt out for the Steelers. I think Mika Fitzpatrick could make an impact, but I got the Browns as well.
Yeah, that's if the Browns throw it at all. I think Najee Harris is dealing with some injuries right now. So,
give me the Browns for sure.
Yeah, I got the Browns, man. I think that
I'll put a second mortgage down on this game if Najee's out.
They should be 2-0. They should be 2-0. They should be 2-0 right now. So, and it's home field advantage. But it's an AFC North battle. It could go either
Anything
way.
could happen. It's in Cleveland, right?
Yeah, it's in Cleveland.
I think Cleveland's also going to be freaking pissed off that they lost to the Jets in a minute 55. So I think they're going to want to play like hard-nosed football and just punch them in the mouth. So
yeah. All right, folks.
Anyway, guys.
That is our power rankings, that is our Monday night recap, our week 3 power rankings, and our Thursday night preview. So yeah.
All in one.
Yeah, baby.
It's like a little Christmas present. Wrap it in a bow. Man, I got work in 6 hours. I got to wake up in 5 of these. And we still got another episode to record. I'm going to just drink coffee and not even go to sleep.
Dude, that's all you got to do, man. How long are your shifts?
Minimum 12.
That's it. All right. Anything you got to say, Dane?
Yeah, guys, thank you again for listening to this week's episode. We greatly appreciate it. Hopefully you guys like it that we both gave our own power rankings. You can comment down whose power ranking you like more, why you like it more, whose you liked less, why you like it less. Either way, go ahead, give us a like, comment, subscribe. We greatly appreciate it. Go ahead, listen to the first 5 minutes at least. helps us out a lot. Jake, anything else?
Even though this is way past the first 5 minutes. Yeah, thanks for listening. Follow us on Instagram, like, subscribe, ring the bell for the alerts or whatever. I don't freaking know. I don't know what they all say for this shit. Sorry. But as always, thank you for listening and peace.